Hi, I'm Briana Hetherington.
I'm Jenn Hatcher.
And I'm Kat Gottlieb.
Welcome to the Conscious Creator Community Podcast. We are over the moon excited to share our wisdom, experiences, and valuable insights to becoming the best version of yourself. Nikola Tesla famously said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Kat, what comes up for you when you hear that?
Oh boy, how much time do we have? Because I am all about this. For any of you who know my book, Via Wonderment, Manifest the Life of Your Dreams, I go into the basic structure of the principles of the law of attraction because it is all about vibration and energy, which when you break it all down, it is about owning and directing your personal energy with intention. So it's aligning your energy with the desired reality by understanding the frequency that your desired object vibrates at. Now, this is not, I'm going to scream this at the top of some tall building. It is not woo-woo. It is actually, and it's not like mystical, it's a philosophy. It is the way of the universe. And neuroscience and other science disciplines are proving it now. As Nikola Tesla's prophetic statement refers to.
And I just want to say, like, that was one of the biggest things that I didn't get when we're talking about collective consciousness to begin with, was everything is energy, right?
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
for this conversation, but Kat, in the episode where we talk about Via Wonderment, everything is energy, and what you're putting out is
Yes.
what you're attracting back, right? So if you're putting out scarcity and you're putting out fear and you're like, that's what you're bringing more of. And so it's definitely all connected. And I hope our listeners are starting to connect those dots, because that was one of the pieces I didn't get to. I didn't get to begin with until I was like, had this light bulb moment of like, oh, wait, everything is energy. And so this coming back to collective consciousness and everything is energy, think about large gatherings, right? Like Bree just talked about how magical the World Cup was in another segment. And think about like a Taylor Swift concert. If anybody's watched the Eras Tour video, or like in my house where it was on repeat for weeks, and I know the costume changes and everything else, like the energy in that space was so incredible. And recently, I was at a Garth Brooks concert, which has been on my bucket list for, I'm just going to say it, over 30 years, because I didn't go when I was young, and then it, life happens. But I'm bringing up the Garth Brooks concert because thousands of people are there together in the same space, singing or not singing the words, and literally the energy becomes palatable. You can feel it. And my husband, who does not like country music, said during the show two things. One, he was like, that man is born to be on stage, which is incredible. Like, yes, he is. He puts on a heck of a great performance. But Justin, my husband, also was like, I had an amazing time. Like, that was a great concert. He knew 3 songs, Friends in Low Places and the 2 covers. Like, that's all he knew. But because of the collective energy that he could feel throughout the amphitheater we were in, he had an amazing time. That's collective consciousness.
I want to add one thing
Yeah.
to that so our listeners can start to connect the dots on this. So you're at this concert. It's a great thing. Garth Brooks is a great energy leader. He is up there putting it out, and
Sure is.
everybody's reflecting back the same high energy, and everyone's having a great time. Now, imagine if there was one person in that group who was a grump, and he picked a fight with somebody in the audience, right? And they started just having a big old negative fight, it would have really affected the collective consciousness of that entire evening and all of the people who went to that concert, right? Because you'd say, oh, remember that guy? Man, he was scary. It was, and then the energy changes within you. So I think the audiences can start to appreciate that we all have an impact in the collective consciousness, whether we understand it or not. So like that grumpy, angry, fighting person negatively impacted, everybody who was around him, who had to experience his negative energy. And so like that's a dramatic example of what could potentially happen, but we all
I've
impact the
seen
people
it
around
at
us.
shows, Kat. Like you are dead on. I have seen it at shows.
Yeah. But you go to the grocery store and you're grumpy and you complain or you snipe at the cashier and everybody around you is like, there you go. You just impacted the collective consciousness. And once I realized this, I became so much more cognizant of how I present my energy when I'm around other people, because it's like, it's not fair to dump our negative energies on others. So anyway, so I just wanted to mention that so that the listeners start to get that, oh, okay, I get where you guys are going with this.
Yeah,
So,
I love that. That's well said, Kat. I think hurt people, and we have to, treat people the right way and know that every little action that we take impacts the collective consciousness. So,
yeah.
what are you contributing to the collective consciousness? What is it? What energy are you bringing? And
Good question.
I have another question for you as well. Do you think people are sometimes carrying emotions that aren't actually theirs?
Oh, yeah.
1000%.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, Jen, what do you think about that?
I sure do. Absolutely, 1000%. Especially in today's world where everybody's connected via their devices, right?
Yeah.
It's always
Right.
close. Um, it's news, it's social media, it's breaking alerts, it's everything. It's people absorbing the fear, anxiety, and uncertainty without even realizing it. It's absolutely 1000%.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's easy to question, like, oh man, what's wrong with me? But I think a better question to ask is, whose or what energy am I allowing to reside inside of me?
Oh, I love that, Kat. And also, I don't have to hold on to this energy.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
I think coming back again to awareness. If I'm aware that these aren't my, like, this isn't my emotions, this isn't me, I need to cleanse. We can cleanse by getting grounded, just walking in the grass or the sand. We can cleanse by just taking a shower and rinsing all that old energy out of here. That's always, but I think it's an important distinction that you bring that up because many people think every feeling really is coming from within them. And sometimes we're simply tuning into the collective emotional climate. One thing I've noticed in my own life is that whenever I intentionally focus on gratitude, service, and possibility, my entire experience changes. And the circumstances don't always change immediately, but my relationship to them changes. One leader can inspire a whole team. One encouraging conversation can change someone's entire day. And one act of kindness can create a ripple effect we never even see. That's why I believe consciousness is not just personal, it's collective. Every day we're either contributing more fear, more judgment, more shame, and more division, or we're contributing more compassion more hope, more love, more understanding. And I think that's one of the greatest responsibilities we have as conscious creators. So, neuroscience tells us our brains are constantly scanning for information, patterns, threats, safety, connection. And because humans are wired for survival, negativity often gets amplified, which means it's not intentional, but we can become overwhelmed by the collective fear around us. I'd like to leave everyone with one question. If every person in the world carried the same energy you carry today, what kind of world would we create together? Not to judge ourselves, simply to become aware, because awareness is where transformation happens.
Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by via Wonderment. Manifest the life of your dreams. If you want to learn how to intentionally create the life of your desires, if you desire a philosophy to structure your thoughts and your emotions, then this is your guidebook to be more regulated and a more balanced reality. It's within your control. Get this book. Your future self will thank you. The link to the book is in the description below.
So, how do you know when you're operating from your own truth versus collective fear?
Ooh, okay. So you're going to notice a theme in my answers today. For me, going back to family, there is with some members a collective fear of money and scarcity. And every time they open their mouth in some way, shape, or form, scarcity comes out related to finances and to money and to life. And I wish and I want. And like, quite honestly, it's exhausting. And over time, I found that my truth is not their truth. Their belief system is not my belief system. And so there's a couple ways that I am operating from my own truth. Number one, that story that they keep repeating keeps showing up in their life because they keep repeating it. Their story is not my story. I do not repeat that. And I have actually set up boundaries with this person of you can talk to me about anything on the planet, literally anything except money, because that's so embedded in their story and it gives me the ick. Like it gives me the ick and it makes me angry. It invokes a lot of emotion. So my truth is my world is abundant. My world is beautiful. I have wealth that I literally have a post-it note on my computer. Wealth flows effortlessly and swiftly to me. We live this beautiful, abundant life. Scarcity does not exist in my world, and that is my truth. And I will continue to set higher and bigger boundaries that I need to protect my truth in my world for my family.
Jenn, what you just shared, I think is so amazing and so relevant and useful for our listeners, is that you can intentionally choose the energy that you allow into you and that you reflect back out into the world, and that you are doing it very intentionally. And also like what, learning that you need to create personal boundaries in order to protect your energy and your intentions. And yeah, I think that's extremely useful for everybody listening. For me personally, to add on to that, one of the things that I do to manage my own personal energy input and output is I manage the amount of information that I consume. So, because I think so much of what so many people do is they react to like fear-based news, for example. And I think, yeah, for myself, I'll start there. I watch news, but I keep it brief, and I really look for a balanced news sources. I try to avoid like the drama of the day. It's like drama du jour. Like when you are watching, especially cable news, we have to remember something, that news stations needs ratings. So they use scare tactics and drama to get engagement. But so many people don't maybe realize that, and they are constantly reacting to and commenting on, oh my gosh, all this drama, all this scandal, everything's just uh, it's a lot. And I know for myself, that's not healthy for me to be in that. So I limit my exposure to it. And so, I think we have to acknowledge that not everybody who's a leader or in the news world or on social media, they're not always motivated by telling the truth, like no matter what they proclaim. And we all need a bit of healthy speculation on everything that we hear about news, politics, and that includes what we hear domestically from our leaders and then also internationally by other leaders. And then the other thing that I would say is to make sure that I'm operating from my own desired emotional state is that I have daily practices that I use to regulate my nervous system. And I think about curating. That's how I think of it because I'm an artist and you curate a gallery, right? You pick and choose what pieces of art you display in a gallery. So I pick and choose my energy that I want to exist in. And then here's the other thing is I very intentionally choose which ones I give my attention to. I want to focus on the positive ones. That doesn't mean I don't experience negative feelings, like I do, but I just want to be very intentional about being a positive influence on the collective consciousness. So I choose how I interact on social media. The comments that I make are very intentional. In my personal conversations, I try to be really careful. Even like I mentioned before, like how I treat strangers. I've learned to be more mindful because it all matters.
Absolutely, Kat. I mean, so well said. What we consume is going to highly impact how we're feeling and the collective consciousness. I mean, when we really think about, guys, like how much we consume in one day, not only from the TV or social media or our phones, but what are we eating? You know, what are we listening to? Who are we surrounding ourselves with? All of these things highly impact the collective consciousness and what we think is normal. So I think as we really dive into all these things and how they're all interconnected, Kat brought up some really great points. You can protect your energy. You have the tools right at your fingertips to be able to shift your energy and own your energy. So we're going to talk a little more about this in becoming a conscious creator in an unconscious world.
Kat, speaking about or layering on what you were just talking about with the news and where are we getting information, things like that. My 20-year-old recently said to me, they were like, oh, I heard this news source is now really leaning left and giving stories from that angle because the dad who owns it died and the son took it over. And we're having this conversation in my house, and my husband's like, where did you hear that? And it was just like, she was like, oh yeah, I heard this and da da da. And so he's like, the dad who owns it is still alive. Like, where did you get this news? And she literally laughed at herself and she was like, oh, it was on TikTok. So I just want to call out that connectivity, even between the different sources of where you're getting information. And Kat, you said it. I just have this perfect example of it, of like, be curious and, question where you're getting your information and if it's valid and accurate information. Because my brilliant child, and she is wicked brilliant, like she was like, "Oh yeah, that's what's true," because she saw a TikTok on it, which is
Yeah.
100% not valid and not true. And she laughed at herself because she didn't verify it, and we all had a laugh at it, but it completely goes with what you were just talking about.
And I think there's so many people who are totally reacting uh, to what they consume without, like you said, verifying by, you know, just
Yeah,
making sure before you start emotionally reacting to something that you see on social media. But
yeah. And
how do you,
thankfully, it was a conversation in our home, and it
yeah,
wasn't like with strangers who were like, "We're like, you're an idiot. What are you talking about?"
well, it's a really good learning experience for her too.
Yes. Yes, I 100% agree.